baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Welcome into On Deck. I'm Tyler Redmond. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, watching the channel. I really appreciate it. While you're here, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell for notifications so you can stay updated with everything I got going on here at On Deck, and of course, everything going on with the Atlanta Braves. And I think one of the biggest conversations that's been going on lately is, of course, what could happen at the trade deadline. And the Braves are one of the teams that have the most eyes on it because of the struggles they've had, because of, the off-the-field incidents that they've had. There's been some opportunities for a lot of guys that otherwise wouldn't be playing to be starting, much less playing. So with that said, what could happen at the trade deadline? Could the Braves go get someone to really make an impact? Could they go do multiple things at the trade deadline? Could they get multiple folks from certain teams? I think so. We're going to look at an article here from The Athletic. David O'Brien and Jim Bowden put together an article this morning. They dropped it. They gave 5 different scenarios. That will be towards the end of the video, so if you want to fast forward, you can fast forward to the time code on your screen. But what we're going to do right now is I'm going to show you just each and every person on the main roster that I think is a potential trade bait, or even in the minor league top prospect list that I think could be on that list to go somewhere else potentially. So to kick that off, let's go ahead and take a look at the trade deadline main roster list. As you can see right here, I have the entire pitching staff that's on the main roster right now. They're listed as untouchable, unsellable, or potential trade bait. So starting off with like Ian Anderson, Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Drew Smyly, all the way down to Chris Martin, those are pretty much untouchable, or Charlie Morton, Drew Smyly, they're on one-year deals. So they're unsellable as well because no one's going to go get a starting pitcher, no matter how really successful they are, and trade away good pieces for that remainder of the season, unless they're just right at the edge and they need that one last kick. I really don't think that's going to happen. So none of those guys, I think, have any fear of moving. But towards the bottom of the list, you start seeing a little bit different. You see Sean Newcomb there. He's unsellable, but he's got little trade value, so I don't think he's going anywhere. He could be, in theory, thrown into a deal of some kind. I just don't think so. However, Edgar Santana, he's potential trade bait in my eyes. I think he could be easily thrown into a deal. He's a hard thrower, and he's either hit or miss, but I think with additional time, he could turn into a good bullpen hand, and I think that's how the Braves would pitch it. Will Smith, again, unsellable, untouchable. He's not going anywhere. No matter how much he struggles, we're paying too much money for him, and he's unsellable, and I don't think he's going anywhere. Josh Tomlin, untouchable. Reason being, 1 year, $1.25 million. That's why. However, last guy on the list, Jacob Webb, potential trade bait. I think he is potential trade bait. It will be a hard sell, which is why he's got the unsellable there too. But I do think he is potential trade bait. Again, a hard thrower, was elite last year, was elite the year before. I think he's really just in a low right now. I do think he's eventually going to turn it around and be what he once was, whether that be for the Braves or for another team. But for right now, he is potential trade bait in my eyes if the Braves can sell it the right way. Basically, he'd be 1 in 4 guys that we send over. But then you get to the main roster outside of pitching. Let's talk about the offensive players here. Most of them are untouchable. Let's just be honest. Acuna, Albies, Freeman, Riley, they're all untouchable. But Dansby Swanson, he's potential trade bait. More on that later. I have a good reason why. Just hear me out later. William Contreras, untouchable. We're paying him too little. He's doing too good. And frankly, our catchers right now are limited. So I don't think William Contreras is going anywhere. A little bit of that bleeds over into Kevin Smith. Unsellable. I just don't think anybody's going to go get him, and we can't really afford to get rid of him right now. Pablo Sandoval, untouchable. His value is too high off the bench, and his price is too low. That's honestly all it is. A-Ray Adrianza, he's potentially there. Basically all 3 of those guys, A-Ray, Abraham Almani, Guillermo Heredia, all 3 of those could be thrown into a deal at any time, especially if we were to go get a left fielder. And we are going to talk about some of those scenarios, so stick around for that. But I highly doubt it's going to be A-Ray Adrianza. The guy just plays too many positions. He's been really good off the bench this year, and he started when he needed to. And I just don't think he's going anywhere specifically. Now, one or the other, Abraham Almani or Guillermo Heredia, could be sent off. I don't know that it's going to happen. They've been really valuable off the bench for the most part, and I just don't see them really going anywhere. At least not both of them. I don't think both of them. I think one or the other could. If the Braves needed someone to throw in that deal, it would probably be them out of guys that are on that 26-man. But right now I'm looking at definitely not Adrianza, and one or the other, Abraham Almani or Guillermo, but not in a package deal, not together. I just don't see it happening. Ender Inciarte, unsellable. We're paying him way too much this year. He's not going anywhere. He's here to stay at least to the remainder of this year, and we just got to deal with it for right now. Otherwise, I mean, look, and I think Ender is a perfect example here. This is not a list of folks that are, they're not untouchable because they're good. They're untouchable because a mixture of their talent, a mixture of their price, a mixture of their value, and a mixture of their trade value. And those are all different things. They all have different, consequences and scenarios. So these are the guys from the main roster that I think could be on there. Potential trade pieces: Edgar Santana, Jacob Webb, Dansby Swanson, A-Ray Adrianza, Abraham Almani, Guillermo Heredia. Now, you're probably looking at Dansby Swanson with a big eyebrow raised, and rightfully so. Dansby Swanson has been a foundational piece for this current crew of Braves. And look, I don't, honestly, if I'm being true to you, I don't think Dansby's going anywhere. I really don't, but he has been in the conversation lately, and I want you guys to be aware of it. I don't want you to be blindsided. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. I would be very surprised if the Braves made this decision. However, you're going to see why once we get to the trade scenarios, why he's in this list. But more on that later, okay? Let's talk about the minor leaguers. Let's talk about the prospects. So what you're looking at right now, these are the top prospects that have really been in the conversation. It's the top 10, and then we go 12, 13, and 20, all the way down to 24. And the reason I included Logan Brown on this list ultimately is because he's been in the conversation. He is a catcher. He is a guy that has a little bit of value because of that, and I wanted to include him here again because he has been mentioned in some of these conversations. So what you got right here, you got name, you got value, and you got whether or not they're likely to be traded. Christian Pache is an obvious no, for example. Now, Drew Waters, his value's up there in terms of prospect trade value, but he is a maybe. He is a definite potential trade piece, and we'll talk about more of that later. Shea Langoliers, absolutely not. Braden Shoemake, maybe. Now, you're probably wondering why. Why is our number 2 and our number 4 prospects potential trade pieces? Well, anyone's a potential trade piece, really. But Braden Shoemake is a shortstop, and so is Dansby Swanson. And I think the Braves really haven't made it clear what they want to do at the shortstop position because, I don't know that both of them are going to be able to hang around with the Braves. So one of them is going definitely to be in these discussions. That's why I think, do you want to pay Dansby the money or do you want to give Braden Shoemake a chance at the majors? I think that's the decision they're eventually going to have to make, whether it be this trade deadline, whether it be the offseason, or whether it be next season. They're eventually going to have to make that decision. It may not happen. They may let Dansby go into free agency. They may do something of that nature, or they might go get something for him right now. But we'll see. I think Kyle Muller is an obvious no. You could make the argument that he was showcased this couple of nights ago. I don't think so. I think our starting pitching so weak right now, they want to keep as many of these prospects as possible. Again, why I think Jared Schuster and Tucker Davidson are no's. They are potentially, the next Ian Anderson. Tucker Davidson, excluding his last start, had a great start to his career in the majors, and I don't think it's going to change. I think it's going to continue if he gets called back up. Jaciel De La Cruz, he is the only one that has a definite yes here. And that's because he is in almost every one of these scenarios that I'm going to mention here in just a minute. He is in almost every single one of them. I think he is a definite, piece on the chopping block. And it's nothing against him. He's our number 8th prospect. He's got some value, and I think that's, the reason that we're going to give him, an opportunity to be traded. I really think that's the case. Michael Harris, value number 10. I don't think so, not at all. Freddie Tarnick, no. Bryce Ball, Trey Harris, maybe. They've kind of been talked about before. They've been talked about lately. Trey Harris is in one of these scenarios. Logan Brown is a yes, and the reason being, same reason we talked about Braden Shoemake a minute ago. We have a lot of catchers, and I know it doesn't seem like that at the major league level right now, considering we have a rookie catcher that is our starter, but we have a lot of them. If you want to include d'Arnaud in this list, you got d'Arnaud, William Contreras, Kevin Smith, Alex Jackson, then Logan Brown. And, and I would include Jeff Mathis in that list. So we have a lot of catchers. Logan Brown could potentially be a future catcher for the Braves, but he would be behind William Contreras and Shea Langoliers. And to me, there's no doubt about that. So, yeah, I think he's a definite trade piece. So if you're looking to the right there, you got potential trade pieces: Drew Waters, Braden Shoemake, Jaciel De La Cruz, Bryce Ball, Trey Harris, and Logan Brown. So trade deadline, this is all of them. This is all the pieces that I think could be traded off. Edgar Santana, Jacob Webb, Dansby Swanson. Again, I doubt it, but maybe. A-Ray Adrianza, doubtful again. Abraham Almani, Guillermo Heredia, but not both of them. Drew Waters, Braden Shoemake, Jaceel De La Cruz, Bryce Ball, Trey Harris, and Logan Brown. So, with that out of the way, those are all the pieces that I think could be traded. That was really just to give you an overall look at what the Braves have at the deadline, what they're thinking about, the money involved. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot of aspects when you're talking about trading. And I know all you guys want to know about trading. And it's a really interesting topic, obviously. So before we move any further, I got to plug my sponsors. Special thanks to LarandyGloves.com for helping me out, sponsoring me during this season. I really appreciate it. Those guys are great. They got great gloves. One of my favorite websites on the internet. They got great gloves for great prices. Go check them out. Again, LarandyGloves.com. Link is in the description if you are interested. So let's talk about some of these trade scenarios. Now, this is courtesy of David O'Brien and Jim Bowden at The Athletic. Again, they put out this article this morning. If you want to go subscribe to The Athletic, here's some free promotion, Athletic. So with that out of the way, let's talk about some of these proposals that they came up with. Now, some of these you're going to outright disagree with. Some of these you're going to raise an eyebrow out. Some of these you're going to be like, wow, yeah, let's do it. So number one, this one, they even labeled it in the article, swinging for the fences. This is a very unlikely one. I'm just going to get that out of the way. Basically, the Braves would get Ketel Marte. The Diamondbacks would get Drew Waters, Kyle Wright, Jaceel De La Cruz, and Braden Shoemake. There are a lot of problems with this trade. One, we're overpaying in my eyes. You include Drew Waters and Kyle Wright for one player. And Braden Shoemake. These are guys that Kyle Wright would be in the top 10 prospect list if he was still a prospect, and the other three are in there. So you're really overpaying if you're the Braves. And honestly, if you're the Diamondbacks, you're not getting enough for Ketel Marte. I just don't see how it really evens out on both sides, because Ketel Marte does deserve a haul. He absolutely deserves a haul. But they're going to want even more for him. They're going to want Jared Schuster. They're going to want Kyle Muller. They're going to want as much as they can get for Ketel Marte. He's their best player. He's the guy that's selling jerseys for him. And I really don't think this is enough for them to do this. And I also think we would be overpaying for just this, much less you add a Jared Schuster, you add a Kyle Muller, you add anybody else. If you switch out Drew Waters and Christian Pache, it would all be too much. It's too much on both sides. It's either too much or not enough on both sides. I just don't see it happening, but that's just me. So let's move on to trade number two. Trade number two, this one is pretty interesting. The Braves would get Richard Rodriguez. He is the closer for the Pirates, and Brian Reynolds, outfielder for the Pirates. Now that would be interesting, because the Braves would give up Drew Waters, Trey Harris, Logan Brown, Kyle Wright, and Jaceel De La Cruz. However, they would fix two problems. One, we're down an outfielder in Marcell Ozuna. They would fix that with Brian Reynolds, who could be in the All-Star game this year. So that would be suitable. And they would also get some bullpen help with a closer in Richard Rodriguez. If that were to happen, it would solve things for now, in theory. But if I were the Pirates, I would do this in a heartbeat, because the Braves are way overpaying. The Braves would be giving up a ton of future potential, and I just don't see the Braves doing this. They've never been a team to give up the farm. That's a philosophy they've stuck by. It's a philosophy that I think they'll continue to stick by. I just don't see this happening. Now, I could be wrong. They could do this, but again, if I were the Pirates, I would do this in an absolute heartbeat. I just don't think we're getting enough for what we're sending. Plus, you got Waters as your number 2 prospect, Trey Harris is your number 13, and they're all in the same offer. Not to mention, you throw in Kyle Wright, you throw in Jaceel De La Cruz, and you throw in a catcher in Logan Brown. I just think that's a lot. I think we would need something elite in this trade for this to happen, and I don't think, with all due respect, I don't think Richard Rodriguez and Brian Reynolds are that elite. Ketel Marte, for example, you're just in theory, if you were to throw Ketel Marte into this trade, I could see it happening more so. I just don't think this is enough. So let's move on to trade number 3. Now, these trades, by the way, they get a little better as we go. This is one that I could get behind. Braves would get Jose Barrios from the Twins, and they wouldn't give up very much at all. It'd be Touki Toussaint and Johan Camargo. Now, as a Braves guy, yeah, do it. If I could talk to Alex Anthopoulos tomorrow, do it. Do the trade. Because Touki, we haven't seen him really move to his full potential. If we think his full potential is there, he hasn't hit it yet. Johan Camargo, we don't really have a spot for him. Let's be honest. He tried for third base. Austin Riley beat him out. He's tried up the middle. Dansby and Ozzie both beat him out. He's even tried a little bit of outfield. Never quite found a spot with the Braves. He's currently sitting in Gwinnett. He's killing it in Gwinnett. And, frankly, he hasn't had a hit in the major leagues all year long. Give him a chance somewhere else. Move him to the struggling Twins. He can be a backup for Donaldson. I'm all for this trade. And that's exactly why the Twins won't be. The Twins don't aren't going to feel like they're getting enough. Now, they might be sellers at the deadline. That is 6 weeks from now. If they're really struggling, they may do this if the Braves get to them early enough, before the Yankees, before the Cardinals get to them. This could happen, but I really think it's going to take something more to really get Jose Barrios. And this could help our starting pitching. And, we talked the other day about a rumor that Mike Soroka and Travis d'Arnaud and, Huascar Ynoa could all be back in August, but that's still pending. The Braves still got to make it there as well. So there's a lot that this could do a lot for the Braves, and we wouldn't be giving up that much. Two guys that never really proved themselves with the Braves. Maybe give them a chance in Minnesota. Maybe they do something. Maybe they help out the Twins. Finally turn it around up there in Minnesota. I don't know. I really like this trade if the Braves can make it happen. I just don't know that it's going to happen. So with that said, let's move to trade number 4. This is one you guys are all going to like. The Braves get Trey Mancini from the Orioles, and Baltimore would get Kyle Wright, Johan Camargo, and Logan Brown. So this is one that I think anybody would like. You receive one of the most popular guys in baseball right now, in my opinion, and all for the right reasons. He's, off the field, he's been great for the Orioles, and he's frankly their best player, definitely their most favorite player in Baltimore, and it would be a really good pickup for the Braves. It'd be a good outfield pickup, and, he's around a 300 hitter. He can give you 30 homers. I don't think this would be a bad pickup at all. On the other side, you give up Kyle Wright, you give up Johan, and you give up Logan Brown. Now, the reason I'm okay with losing guys like Johan Camargo and Logan Brown is because Logan Brown, all due respect to him, he's top 25 in the prospect list for the Braves. I just don't see him having a spot with the Braves. I don't. Not behind William Contreras, not behind Shea Langoliers, and really not even behind Alex Jackson. I just don't see him anytime soon, anyway. I just don't see it. And if the Braves are going to make a run in these next couple of years, they're going to need some pop. And Trey Mancini will give it to him. In terms of Kyle Wright, I think Trey Mancini just outright outweighs Kyle Wright in this trade. But I'd like this trade. It's not my favorite trade in this list, but I do like it. I think this could happen. If it does happen, the Baltimore Orioles would have to be giving up their best player. And I don't know that they would necessarily do that. They may come back. It may be a counteroffer. But this is a good starting point for this trade to happen, for the Braves to go get Trey Mancini. They may have to give up something a little bit more, but I would be okay with even losing Drew Waters to get Trey Mancini at this point. I really would. And I know some of you guys aren't going to like that, but I would not mind it in this particular trade. If we were to give up Drew Waters, I'm not giving you Kyle Wright. But you see my point. Whatever they want to substitute, if it's Drew Waters for Kyle Wright, I'll take it. But again, it's going to take some reworking around. This could happen, but we'll see. So let's move on to trade number 5. So in this trade, the Braves would get Mitch Haniger and Kendall Graveman from the Mariners, and Seattle would get Kyle Wright, Johan Camargo, Yasiel De La Cruz, and Logan Brown. So this is the most fair trade in this list, if you ask me. I think this benefits both teams equally, or as equal as a trade can be. Mitch Haniger is signed through 2021. He is arbitration eligible, so they will have a little bit more control there. In 2021, he had 66 games, 16 homers, 40 RBIs, and a 259 average currently. Kendall Graveman in 2021 so far has 16 games, a sub-1 ERA, 18 innings pitched, 1 homer, 4 walks, and 18 strikeouts. So both of these guys have been suitable. They would fix a lot of what the Braves have problems with right now in the bullpen and in the outfield. And, I think the biggest problems for the Braves right now, number one being outfield. We got to find some offensive producer in the outfield to replace Marcell Ozuna. That's a definite. Past that, it's been pitching. Starting rotation's been a little rockier than we would have imagined it would be this year, and in places that we didn't expect. And I think the bullpen can, we could say the same thing for the bullpen. Chris Martin has struggled. A.J. Minter has struggled. Names that we didn't expect to really struggle have been doing that. Shane Green's had a rocky start so far. I think that'll change when some innings get under his belt. But right now, things have been really rocky for the Braves. I think this would be a really good starting point to fixing that. It might not be the only trade the Braves do. They may go do something else. But this would aid a lot of that. Now, I'm not, again, the Braves have never been a team to give up on prospects and just sell the farm. They've never done that. Not in this grandiose of fashion, might I say. But I really think that the Braves could do this. This could be a really suitable fix, and this could be a long-lasting effect for the Braves. I think it could really help them in their journey over the next couple of years. Because look, the Braves' window of competing is only so long, and if they want to compete before they have to pay the bills, pay Dansby Swanson, pay Freddie Freeman, pay Ronald Acuna again, pay Ozzie Albies. They're going to have to do it in the next 5 or 6 years. And I think this could be something to help them over the next couple of years. With that said, again, we'll see what the Braves do. I think this could happen. I think it would be very interesting if this happened. But we'll see if the Braves are going to be willing to sacrifice some of these farm pieces, some of these veterans that they've had over the past few years for a Mitch Haniger, for a Kendall Graveman from the Mariners. That'll be a really interesting trade if it does go through. Maybe they add a little bit more to it to seal the deal. With that out of the way, guys, that's going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed the trade scenarios, all 5 of them. Let me know what you thought about them. Let me know if you got a favorite out of them. Let me know which ones you think is the most plausible. And if you have your own, I'll be glad to listen to it and tell you what I think about it. So with that out of the way, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. A couple of updates for you. Make sure you go check out the Gwinnett Stripers over the weekend. Saturday, they're doing a bobblehead night. It's going to be a Mike Soroka bobblehead night as he makes his way back to the field. They are doing it again Saturday night, Gwinnett Stripers. Go check out their website for more information. Free bobblehead the moment you walk in. And look, the prices are great there. So go check them out. They told me to send you there. And look, they gave me that bobblehead of Brian McCann right there just to tell you. So go do it. You trust me. It's a great experience. If you want more details about the Gwinnett Stripers experience, I suggest you go check out that video on my channel right after you get done watching this one. But, again, go check out my friends at LarandyGloves.com as well. They got great prices there. If you got a glove you need, if you got a Father's Day gift you need, go check them out, LarandyGloves.com. And with that out of the way, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the Braves. And hopefully they get a winning streak starting tonight. So, with that out of the way, guys, thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you next time right here at On Deck.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.